What's up guys, this is Chris with Croft CNC coming at you with another tutorial. I'm going to show you how to take a JPEG picture like this on the left, turn it into a template like this in the center, and then make it into a sellable product like this on the right. So without further ado, let's get started. So I have my JPEG here. We're going to open it in Paintnet. And we're going to check its size and make sure that its resolution is high, and then we're also going to make sure that it's completely black and white. Now I can tell you that everything is in order because I already took this image and created the file, so I didn't save the original image. But it was nothing more than a sketch drawing that I found on Google and was able to separate everything out and create. So let's go to image, resize, and as you can see we're 299 pixels. I set it at 300 originally. It's 10.03 by 5.99, so you know, everything looks really good there, obviously. Then we're going to choose the wand, hit the shift key, hit the left mouse button, and that will select everything that needs to be generated in white. We'll go to the eraser. We'll set the eraser size to 500. And we will erase everything by left clicking the mouse and just dragging the eraser back and forth. We will then Control I, that inverts the selection. We will pick a paintbrush. The size is 500. The primary color is black. We'll go back, we'll scroll all through this image to make sure everything that's selected is black. There aren't multiple colors, and at this point we can go to save as. For me, we already did that, so I don't need to. I'm going to choose don't save. You obviously have to save. Now I'm going to open designedge. Okay, and I'm going to try and get this vector from what we have. I'm going to go to import. I'm going to go to that. I'm going to make sure show images checked, convert image to vectors is checked. It's already a black and white. It tells me my size is here. I'm going to choose my background color, which is white. I want a solid fill, not an outline. Everything else looks really good. Okay, let's see what we have here. Let's zoom in, F1. Looks like a pretty good conversion. Okay, I like it. I like where it ended up. We're going to go to view. We're going to get off of the bitmap. You can see we got a few squiggly lines just because of noise from when we did the transfer. But all in all, if I took this, moved it over to there, you can see the lines are somewhat squiggly anyways. Okay, so we'll delete this one and we're going to start working on this. What I'm going to do is that, and we're going to move everything onto the table board just because it's easy. So I need to work with this image here. I know I want my image to be a finished 21-inch image, so I'm going to create a rectangle by hitting W, 0, 0 as my starting point, 21, 21 as my finish point. Now I'll click on my magnifying glass and that brings all the pieces together. So we're now going to take this, move it so that it's in the area. Okay, and on this one I created some bars. So we'll go ahead and create those. We'll go W 0 0, and we'll go, let's go 21 by 0.25. All right. Now I need 2 of them at this length and then 1 of them at a shorter length. So I'll just take this, move it over, copy it, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now I'm going to bring this vector down just so you can see what I'm doing, how I'm creating this. So I've got this image, and I've looked over here. It has this top section, but this bottom section is separated out. So I'm just going to come over here, K on the keyboard, we'll break that apart, and now I have 2 separate vectors. I can move one down and go from there. So now I can move one of these in place. I can move one of these in place. And I can move one of these in place. So the bottom piece is going to be the easiest piece to work with because it's so much smaller and it's a nice solid fill. So I'm going to move that. But I need to make alignment pieces for this. So what we'll do, an easy way to do that, is to zoom in, hit L for line, N for node, and select the center section. Hit O for orthogonal, so the line goes straight up and down. Now we will select the whole geometry, and we're going to hit move, M. We're going to select the geometry and hit M for midpoint and select the midpoint of this bottom rectangle. There we go. It's now on the middle section of the bottom rectangle. I can delete this line. Now zoom in. All I have to do is select the geometry, move, click on it, orthogonal O, until these lines kind of mesh up. Okay. Now what I'll do is I'll use X as my trim tool, and I'll trim that. I'll join that. I now have the first piece of my puzzle designed. The next piece is taking this and creating this top bar here. So we're going to move this. We'll get it somewhat in place. We're going to do a line, node, and right now these are kind of arbitrary. Alright, we're going to do M. We're going to choose this. We're going to choose this whole geometry, M. We're going to line up on that, and we're going to hit M for midpoint. Okay, where we selected, moved it to the midpoint. We can now move O for orthogonal. Now it goes straight up and down. And we just select this till we get that. Okay. It did not merge all the way, so we'll hit move, click, hit O again. There we go. Now it overlaps. We can use the trim tool, trim that, trim that, trim that. Hit J for join after selecting. We have no fall away parts so far. Okay. Now, I came up with an arbitrary size for my length here to get my expansion correct. That's nothing more than picking kind of a length off of the center line. So I went line, node, chose the center, orthogonal for straight up and down, O for offset, and we'll do 3.5. So that's a 7-inch lower block. Hit control, left click, left click. Okay. Trim tool. Do some selecting. Join. And look at that. So we can take this, move it over, and for my purposes, I'm just going to move it over. I'm going to group it, and then I'm going to scale it. Looks pretty good. We'll move that back over. Okay, 3 pieces of the puzzle are kind of coming together now. At this point, I'm going to select all of this geometry. I'm going to group it, and then I'll move it. So that I can start getting some scaling down. Okay. Move that down. That actually looks pretty good there. We'll put a line on it just to demarcate it. Like we're doing there. Now I'll select those lines and my geometry. I'll move it back over. I'll use my trim tool. Use my trim tool. And I'll join the geometry. Looky there. Now we'll move this one. We'll scale it to size. We're going to line it up on the corner. We'll scale it. Okay, looks pretty good. We'll do a line down. Okay, control to select that. We'll move all of those out of the way, and we'll trim J. All right, now we're getting somewhere, people. I'm going to draw a line off the node, orthogonal, move, and that's my alignment line for the edge. So now I know that those two are in line. move that over. It's going to end up being a little bit taller, but all in all pretty good. Okay, so we've got this design. We want to go about 3/4 of whatever this height is, or close enough to it. So I'll zoom in, and I'm gonna go up here to this ruler, click, get close to that corner, 2.361 inches tall. Okay, so using a side calculator here, 2.361 inches times by 0.75, 1773. So what I'll do is I will take that, move it up, alright, now we can move 0.175 down. And if we wanted to, we could go there, orthogonal. Or we can go Q 1.75 like that. And using that little thing there, we can actually start to get a good alignment. Okay. Now to make sure my points are centered up, I'm going to line N, orthogonal. Now I'll select this geometry, I'll move it, orthogonal move, line up the point, and there we go. We now took our initial piece, made it into a ornamental piece. Now all we have to do is add our boxes, our rectangular boxes. Just hit W or whatever your box is, create your standoff box. I would probably center it, so you could go line N, orthogonal down, go up here, find the center mass, I just use the mass centering tool. It's easy, it's quick. I'll select that. Control H does my shrink, my vertical shrink, so I can shrink that. Now do the same thing here. W. There. Go up here. Close. Oh, we're pretty good there. Maybe let's go H. Bring that down a little. Delete that line. And now you have your template box. So you saw how we created that. For this purposes, that part's done, so we're going to delete that. We're then going to move this over, and we're going to start creating this aspect of it. So we'll move that up, and we'll go draw. All my information is already here. Let's change that to a capital C. Okay. Now we're going to move this here. We're going to select this. Control V is fit the path. Zoom in, fit it. And what I'm looking for is to make sure all the letters are top and bottom. I'll fit the path this. Control V, zoom in, select your path. Okay, the 1 and the 9. All of this needs a little bit more in my opinion. So we're going to undo that. We're going to Control H. Separate this down some. Give it a little more separation here. Alright, there we go. Now let's select this. Let's Control V. Zoom in. Okay, there we go. Okay, let's delete this box. Let's delete this box. Okay. Let's take this, move it. Got a nice separation there. We've got connection here and here. And now we'll use our trim tool to trim those. Select all geometry, J for join. It's now one piece of geometry. Now this is where things get a little hectic for people. I select the perimeter of just the top geometry. I hit the Control key and I select just the name. Now the perimeter of this and the perimeter of each of the letters will be joined by Control B. You can see it gathers all of them around. Hit Control again, choose the bottom one, Control B. That's all one piece of geometry now. Now we're going to do something a little different. We're going to come down here and select this geometry, Control, select that geometry, Control B. Now that's all one piece of geometry. This is one piece of geometry. We're going to hit Control, select the top, Control B. Now that's all one piece. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do the new scroll work. And I don't need this, so this is my template, so I'll click no. In your case you would save it and go from there. Here's what my template looks like, already sized and ready to go. If you have any questions, please post them down.